Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. We're really close to getting 200 subscribers, so if you haven't done so already, make sure you click subscribe down below. This is the second video in our series of top tips for the world-class gymnast. My name is Issy. I'm European and World Silver Medalist and World Games Bronze Medalist, and in this video we'll be focusing on handstands. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Tip number 1. So this first tip is practicing your handstand shape lying down on both your front and your back. When you're lying on your back, you need to be lying really flat and try and pull your belly button down to the floor. Make sure you've got nice extended arms and straight legs and pointed toes. And when you're lying on your front, you're practicing pulling your ribs off the floor and pulling it in here, where your sternum is right in the middle. Tip number 2. So for this prep, you're trying to combine the two shapes you just did on the floor, but across two surfaces. You want to put roughly here on one and just above your kneecaps on the other one, and you're making a bridge across the two surfaces by pulling your ribs up and your back down. Tip number 3. So this prep is a tucked handstand with your knees on a raised surface, hands on the floor, trying to keep your hands, shoulders and bottom all in a straight line, and just your kneecaps touching the surface with your toes pointed up to the ceiling. You need to be pushing your shoulders right up like this, so you can't see any ears or any gap. Tip number 4. This one is exactly the same as the tucked handstand, but you're making a pike shape. So you're keeping the same shape all the way up to your bum, but you've got straight legs and just your toes touching the block. Tip number 5. Once your piked handstand is nice and strong, you can practice lifting one leg into the air. Make sure that it stays squeezed into a nice straight line above your handstand, and your other leg stays on the block. And once you've got that in a nice, strong, stable shape, then you can practice tipping forwards and pressing on your fingers to try and lift your foot into the air. You shouldn't be having to move your whole body to lift that leg up. You should be just pressing the weight over onto your fingers until it feels like your foot doesn't even need to touch anymore. It will just lift into the air. Tip number 6. Once you get into the stage where you can do a piked handstand and lift your foot off and hold for a couple of seconds, then you can practice lifting up into the air and switching your legs. So you lift one to handstand, bring the other one up to join it, and then put the other one back down. You should be able to do this without making any noise on the block, so you shouldn't be having to kick and throw your legs around. You're just doing the press and lifting your toes up and putting them down again. Tip number 7. So this one is practicing your lunge into your handstand. Ideally, you want to lunge the whole distance of your body when you're lying down from your toes to your fingers. So we put an object where your hands are on the floor, and then when you do your step, you do a really long step and reach your hands forwards to meet the object and do your handstand. Tip number 8. So now we're practicing holding your handstand, but we're using a wall for support. You need to be pulling your ribs in, shoulders up and back nice and flat so that just your toes are touching the wall when you're there. Pulling your ribs away from the wall is really important. Tip number 9. Once you've got a nice solid handstand shape by the wall, you can start pulling one leg off. So you pull one leg away, flex the other toe, make it join the handstand in the air and put the other toe back down. So you're only moving a tiny bit off the wall, but you're pulling to a handstand shape and then going back to the wall for a little bit of support. Tip number 10. If you've mastered all of these tips, you're now ready to do your handstand hold on the floor. Don't forget to grip with your fingers when you're practicing your handstand and just practice, practice, practice. I hope you guys have enjoyed my top tips for handstands. Check back soon for the next video, which will be focusing on straddle ups. Bye.